All right, we're back.
We are back.
We are back. We just got a slight disconnection. So I guess we were talking about, aside from diet, aside from taking care of the physical body, what other stuff?
Then to go into the emotional body. So again, just to review, you start with your physical self. You work on your diet, your health, your wellness, getting enough exercise, water, the basics of just caring for your body as a temple.
Yes.
Then you go into the emotional part. Is that where we're at?
Your reactions.
Yes.
Which shows your mental and emotional imbalances, if any. Because if a person says something, you react to it, then you're still not at the level of balance, right?
And that's what I'm being shown, is that the triggers are the constant lessons.
Yeah.
So, I can get into a relationship and then maybe they start triggering stuff. Maybe they start bringing up my childhood wounds, and I realize, okay, I still have more work. So kind of being in that place to not judge it, but accept it and look at it. How would you view the emotions from your standpoint? Like, how would you advise someone to look at themselves when they're, there's a lot of people that are just stuck in those emotions and stuck in their past and stuck in that pain body.
I'll say that by the time a practitioner has overcome or coming to terms with their emotions, they've been released from the bondage of samsara or reincarnation. So it's a great work. It means that you have mastered the heart at this level. So by answering this question, it would already show that if a person is able to harness the energies of the heart, they've already awakened to their true powers. It shows that they're unswayed by the influences around themselves. So you compliment them, they'll be like, that's a nice compliment. Or you belittle them, you step on them, they'll be like, okay, that's a great lesson. They're so balanced that not a high tide can't affect them, a low tide can't affect them, because they have mastered the stability, the one pointedness in the hearts. And that's when this brilliance, this radiance inside the heart, it just shines. It doesn't matter, it doesn't care if you have like a small shine or a big shine. It just shines. And there's no way that you can put the shine out. Once a person has found their own internal light, they're just being at that level. They're not thinking, they're not doing, they're not calculating, they're not comparing. They're just being and radiating this spark inside them. And this is actually emotions. When we have mastered the emotions, we have mastered the radiance, the light within us.
Yes.
Because you are impartial to everything and everyone. You're not. I wouldn't just shine my light to you, Talisha, because I know you. I'll walk out in the streets and I'll automatically radiating my light to even like a random stranger that frowns at me. I'll just smile. Yeah, they'll be like, oh, that's nice, or that's weird, but I'm just being myself. I wouldn't be, oh, you're a beggar, you're homeless, I'm gonna frown and not shine my light at you. For me, it's just, I'm always at the bare minimum, I'm neutral. For people that I do love and do like, I'll shine even more, pamper them even more with more lights.
More of your light.
Yeah.
You're sharing that light.
But at the bare minimum, it's always shining, and it's shining very indiscriminately. There's no discrimination such as, oh, you're spiritual, so you should get more respect or more light, more help, and you're not spiritual, so I'm just gonna... No. Well, everyone would receive this brilliance, this radiance, no matter who they are and where they're at spiritually, they'll receive it. And this shows kind of, in Buddhism, called equanimity. You're not playing sides, you're not taking roles. Everyone is equal. So when we think about even the animals, even the stones, even the plants, even the water, even the air,
yes,
everything is being treated equally.
Yes, I understand that. So you're able to go into the world and, they always say, and it sounds cheesy, like love is the answer. But that's basically what you're describing. You're just exuding love for everything.
It all comes down to self-love. Because you love yourself so much that there's no separation from other things that are outside that's not you. You see everything around you as yourself. And therefore, by shining your light within yourself and shining yourself outside, it's the same thing. And
it's like a flow.
It's the mind that separates this flow, this energetic exchange of...
Yes, it gets in the way, it blocks it, right?
Like, how much should I shine, or who should I shine it to? Am I even shining? Or I'm not in my best stage. So should I even shine it? So the mind gets in the way. Once the mind is completely in the background, we can do the work. We can do the healing work. But the mind is the greatest challenge. As sometimes I jokingly say that the body is like kind of the prisoner, and then the mind is the warden. So the body's always like, oh, how do I get out? But then the mind's like, you're not getting out. You have to get past me. And then once you get once you get past the mind, the warden, then the spirit can come in.
Then you're free. Truly.
So the spirit's always trying to come in too, right? But the mind is the warden. They're like, we're not accepting any visitors today, right?
Yeah.
Because the body's still in a mess, right?
Yes.
The body's still not in harmony with the warden. So to get out, it's not. There's actually no way out.
There's work to be done first.
But you can be friends with the warden, with the mind. Negotiate with the mind. Say, hey, I gotta do some meditation. I gotta do some healing work. Do you mind if you just go for a coffee break while spirit comes in?
Take a break. Take a
break.
breather.
Yeah. And then after a time, the mind will just work with you. But there's many ways to work with the mind. For me, it was fasting. Like, starve off the mind with all these thoughts. Starve it until on the brink of maybe even death, right? Or even like doing long breath holds. When the brain's not receiving oxygen, it's slowing down, it's dying, right?
You hear a lot about people going to the silent retreats these days too, and like you're not allowed your phone, you're not allowed a book, like nothing.
Yeah.
Have you ever tried that, or just done it for yourself?
I've never tried to those extremes yet, like complete darkness but
oh yeah, the deprivation tanks. Like people are finding these ways, and maybe they're just their tools that they're led to try to clear the mind. The entry point is not just one path. Yes,
there's many paths.
So many.
It just depends on what other people are called to or gravitated towards.
And the more I read, more spiritual books, self-help books, it's like it's all leading to exactly what you're speaking of. It's just different ways of wording it or thinking of it. Like I love the analogy of the warden. That is perfect because it is so true. We get trapped in our mind, and you're right, it stops that flow of energy because we get stuck in the mind. And it's crazy how many times, even in recent times, I could get emotional. Say my boyfriend and I broke up, and then I start feeling the pain body. I literally feel the pain in my heart chakra, and then I start getting emotional. Then I start, stuff from the past comes up. And lately though, I will say, or the past times when that would happen, I can at least sort of, like you're saying, tell the mind to shut up, tell yourself to get out of the fear-based mentality, go back into the flow of love, go back into the flow of self-love, and like navigate your way out of it. But I would imagine as time goes on, that flow becomes just more instant and effortless.
Yeah. Everything will eventually become effortless when we as human doings transform and evolve into a human being. So we're not human human thinking, human doing into a human being, right?
Just being.
Yeah, or human judging, human comparing most of the time.
Yes.
Being is just that you're happy with yourself and you're just radiating yourself. There's no, if you have to think about how nice of a person that you have to be, or think about how of a good act that you have to do, then you're not a good person, you're not a nice person, because you have to think it. It should be so ingrained and so programmed that your innate nature is a goodwill person, without even trying. To be a good person, you don't even try. You are inherently, naturally a good person. You radiate purity, you radiate goodness at that level. And when you have reached such a level, you are now finally a human being. So that's like the final kind of evolutionary process for humans. They have to be. And being means that you have to be so in tune with your feelings. You have to feel, you have to sense, you have to be aware. And this all ties down to meditation.
And most of humanity is doing anything and everything they can to push away or stuff down what you're talking about, the feelings.
Yeah.
What do you really feel? They don't want to feel it.
Yeah.
And I would say, from what I see, that's sort of humanity's biggest challenge or biggest problem. And I just see so many addictions, and I've seen them within myself, even like food addiction or shopping addiction, as ways to distract or detract from feeling and sitting with those feelings and allowing for them.
It's the same thing as I mentioned about the birthday cake and the sugar cravings. You have to keep watching yourself without judging yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And then if at each turning point you see a regret, we're smart enough as human beings, by maybe the thousandth time, we're like, hey, I think that's enough suffering and pain. I think that's good enough. I think I'm going to start living now and not induce more self-inflicted pain on myself. It's all self-inflicted, right?
Mm-hmm.
No one told you to eat that cake. No one told you to use the microwave. No one told you to eat all these junk food with all these preservatives and additives. No one told you to, put yourself in a situation that you're surrounded with negative people and all they talk about is sex or entertainment or drugs or alcohol or the old paradigm of comparison. Everything is self-inflicted, but there comes like a turning point in your life that you are offered a choice. But if life offers you 10 choices and each time you turn away, sometimes we don't get the 11th choice. Sometimes we don't get the 12th choice. Sometimes we don't get the 13th choice. Because spirit or your subconscious program so many times of a choice for you to set things straight, and you neglected it. You turned tail. You ran away. And then spirit over time, not that it gave up, but you're so closed off over time that spirit can't even come into your life. And when that happens, you have all these chronic illnesses, terminal illnesses, or car crashes, accidents. That's like the final wake-up call. It's like, then spirit's like, are you listening now? In like a crippled body, you're like, I'm trying, but I'm dying. Right? So that's like the last resort for many people. That unfortunately we don't have to be in this last resort scenario if we're constantly being tuned with ourselves. Listening. Is what I'm speaking of the highest good? Is what I'm feeling right now here to make me a better person, for growth, for learning? If so, what's the lesson? How am I supposed to overcome this feeling? What's there to acknowledge? What am I denying? So once you learn with feeling, no longer you have to be in pain and suffering because you understand the lesson. So the lessons, they keep on coming back into our lives over and over until we get the lesson. And the lesson's not like, oh, you must do your homework at 8 p.m. Oh, you must meditate at 10 p.m. None of that. The lesson is like, are you truly absorbing the lesson that's being programmed in your life? Such as, are you making your relationships better? Are you trying to improve yourself to be more patient, not angry, not impatient, not easily agitated? Are you a person of clarity, always speaking with truth and equanimity? Or are you very biased and polarized to one extreme, right? So even when we think about the word advocates or protesters, these are all also an extreme form of energy, although sometimes they're for like the benefit of the planet.
Yes.
But the way that they deliver the message sometimes is too extreme. If all these advocates and protesters, if they're also practitioners of yoga and meditation, I'm sure the approach will be a little bit different.
Like Gandhi.
Correct. Yes. I mean, I think that philosophy it's so important. Philosophy highly intertwines with wisdom. Wisdom is kind of like the right amount at the right timing for anything,
Yes.
everything.
Yes. Okay, that is, I get what you're saying, because sometimes you feel like I should be doing more in my life, I should be pushing, but yet I found in going through this journey, and I would question it would be to the point, I can't watch the news. I get enough news just through word of mouth or
Yes.
on the internet, but like, I don't want to be absorbing all this negativity, and I thought, am I just trying to put myself in a bubble? Is this a negative thing? Or am I just protecting my energetic field? Or I didn't know for sure. And even with people in your life, I know there's been phases where I need to block certain people out,
Mhm.
and then you feel sort of bad, but yet you understand that you have to have boundaries.
Right.
How do you find having these sort of boundaries or protecting yourself from what is and can be a very negative, very crazy world?
Very easy. When you have like a choice, make the
Mhm.
best choices. When you don't have a choice, which is very often in life, you try to stay neutral.
Mm.
You try not to let um, your reactions come to the surface. So you're kind of impartial. You'll be acknowledging it
Mhm.
and watching it as an observer, but not a
Mm.
participant.
Yes.
So I'll rephrase that again because I think it's pretty
It's very
important.
important, yes.
All right. When you have a choice, make the best choices and take time to consider what are your best choices. Know all your options and pick the best options out of out of all the choices. Maybe 100
Mhm.
options. Pick the best option. And when you don't have an option or don't have a choice, you try to maintain your neutrality, not to succumb into the energy, not to
Mhm.
buy into the game. They buy into the game means that they're trying to invite or trick you into
You get
playing.
pulled
it.
in and pulled down.
Yeah, you never get pulled back into a chess piece. You can trick the system. I'm still a human being in society, yet I'm not. Kind of like I'm just observing everything that's going on in society now. I'm a
not
human
letting
being.
my energy
Yeah.
go there.
People are happy. People are excited. You're like excitement. Yes. Happiness. Yes. People are all like depressed, and they're like arguing. You're like interesting. Great. I'll write that down in my journal. This is all for my observation for
Yes.
my work, right?
Yes. And
So
to even just look at that polarity
Yeah.
and sometimes you have to see the bad to enjoy the good or know what level it's at, I guess you could say. Because I notice a lot of sort of spiritual people or even some of my clients and such, they get to this point of really like boundaries. I'm having boundaries, like I'm cutting them off, and I'm sure I went through some of those phases as well where I think it's maybe out of even fear of getting sucked in, but you're right, when you're standing in your true power, you're exuding love, you've ascended to those levels where it can't permeate you and you can even be exposed to it but not have that emotional trigger or reaction to it.
You still get influenced by these energies. Obviously, if you're going into a pub, everyone's drinking and having a good time, and you're there, Om Namah Shivaya, and then I mean I place myself in these situations many times, but
Do you really?
yeah. Well, I still keep in touch with my friends that I used to drink with and I used to party with.
Wow.
And when I get invited,
you drank and partied?
Of
Bernie,
course.
I didn't know.
I mean, all sides of the of the polarity have to
Me
be
too,
experienced,
yeah.
right?
Yes,
So,
I
and it's
agree.
that's one way to find yourself is to experience until you realize that, hey, I'm done experimenting. I think I just want to stay in the middle.
So if they called you, oh, we're going to the pub tonight,
No,
would you go anymore?
I do not go anymore. Birthday party, it's a celebration, and they'll be at a pub, and I'm invited. Most of the time, I'll still show up.
Okay.
I'll still show up just to say hi and give my.
I did that recently with a party. I went in, said a hello, just be respectful, but I had to get out. It was too much.
Yeah.
Like I was feeling like just too much energy going on. Walking into a place where people are already intoxicated
Yes.
and you're not. It's
Yes.
very interesting.
Sometimes I see it as like a good, like a checkup or like a wake-up call. Just put yourself in these difficult situations, see how you feel, and then also to congratulate yourself when you're back in your Zen space. Wow, I did good work today. I radiated my light in like a dark space, right? And then you were like, yeah, good job, bud.
Yes.
It's like you probably like shifted some things in those people that they're not aware of. But just by you standing there and breathing the same air, I give like a pat to myself. Good work, like, and not to be affected. When you come back home, you wouldn't be, oh, that was terrible. The atmosphere was bad. The drinks were terrible.
Judging it.
And then my friends were keep talking about sports, sex, drugs, and like party. And then you don't want to carry that vibe
You just
back
accept
home.
them.
You just want to be like, I did my work. I volunteered, and let's wish that a part of my energies was able to transfer to maybe one or two or three people that kind of planted the seed for the shift of their own consciousness. And I'm not holding on to that outcome or expectation that they will, open up.
Yeah.
But at least I planted my seeds and the job is done.
Yes.
Right? And there's a reason why that if you still get invited into your circle of friends, they still see you as hope for themselves that they can change. So
That's true.
for weddings, for birthday gatherings, if I'm invited, I'll still try my best to show up.
Yeah.
I'm the only plant-based eater in my group of friends at the moment. It's been 7 years.
I've been that before.
Yeah. I mean, I'm the extreme of the plant-based, I'm the extreme of the yogi, I'm the extreme of meditators. And it's like, how can a person of this extreme fit into these scenarios? But I do. As I mentioned, it doesn't matter who I'm conversing with, we'll find a neutrality. Something that we can talk about.
Common ground.
Right?
Yes.
So the common ground is very important. It wouldn't be that I'm just staring at you and
ooh, you're weird.
Judging. There's no awkwardness, right?
No.
You try to smooth out this tension and try to
still let the energies
them.
flow.
Yeah.
And accept them where they're
Accept
at.
them where they're at, right?
And that will bring me into my next sort of topic, which is being a quote unquote healer. Or for me, I'll talk about from my perspective. I felt a draw in my life to help others as I climb this ladder of ascension, and I'm still climbing with, I'm sure, a long ways to go, but I've gotten to a certain level, and then I feel like I want to help people, to guide and assist them to get higher up within their levels, or just maybe it's also a push, like we're saying, as a light worker,
right.
To help lift the vibration of the planet. You feel a calling within, and I don't believe it's from an egoic place of, oh, I'm all-knowing, I'm this or that.
Yeah.
It's sharing, and I felt that if you can help one person, amazing. What would be your advice, though, from what you've experienced, on the best ways to assist others if you are feeling that calling, even yourself, to sort of be a healer and assist others on
You're
their
talking
journey?
about how to promote the awareness of
I mean, you, like I was saying, you could become a Reiki healer or have the name of this modality attached to you, or you could do past life regressions.
Yeah.
But I feel like you've transcended above these sort of labels, and maybe there's a way that you've found through experience that was the most effective in being a healer, in helping others, in helping lift the vibration of the collective. What would you have to say about that, or any advice?
I
in
think
that
everything
area?
that we say in our plant circle is just to be yourself. I mean, but to even be yourself, you have to know yourself. And to know yourself, sometimes we have to really go into deep meditative states or deep plant journeys, or find someone that can see us or dive into or read us. Those are one methods. So at the beginning of our journeys, we do need a teacher, we do need a guru to guide us. But when you're good, you can take off the training wheels. You can take out the guru, take out the teacher. They become friends with you at that level, and together you rise up even higher. So in many of my friends or clients relationship, at the beginning, kind of, I was the teacher, I was the guru, but I never once acknowledged that I was the guru and I was the teacher. I just, most of the time, I'm just here to hold your hand, I'm just to hold space, and by holding space, by making them comfortable, they step into their power gradually. And at this point, we're kind of both just rising up together. So instead of I come down to your level and push you up, force you up, I just come down a little bit and say hey, with a little bit of encouragement, it's hey, you just gotta listen to yourself more. You just gotta quiet the mind. You just have to be in tune with the body. And they're oh, really? Is that easy? The more that they're more comfortable with themselves, the more that of their own true spark is able to be ignited. Because they see the healer as a person that's very comfortable with their own energies. And they're hey, if this person is comfortable in themselves and comfortable bathing in their own energies, what if that was me? That what if will trigger that awakening already.
That inspiration.
It's instant. It's instant.
Yeah.
But imagine that people see a healer. Well, the healer's still working with so much mess and so much energies. They're emotional mess. They're a train wreck. They're but wait, aren't you like the master Reiki healer? Aren't you the master yogi? Aren't you the master meditator? How come you have so much stuff still clinging on to you? Then they're like, then maybe this student would be like, okay, it's okay for myself to be a train wreck. It's okay to it's okay to not follow this teaching right to the T. So then they're kind of lost then, because if the teacher
Start
is
getting into
if the
it.
teacher guru is lost himself, the student is going to be lost as well. But if the teacher guru is in complete clarity and complete surrender with their own energies, the student is going to be, what if I'm also clear and pure? What if I'm also comfortable bathing my own energies? That what if is going to slowly help them move up to that level. And when that student are in complete surrender and contentment with their own energies, the student is no longer a student. The student becomes a comrade to that teacher, and together they're powerful forces to be reckoned with.
I see what you mean. So you're just inspiring, you are giving maybe this person that you're helping to uplift, you're giving them sort of little baby steps and encouragement.
Cookie crumbs.
And you're not coming as like, I am the all-knowing, I am the guru, I will fix you, and you must always come back to me to be fixed.
Yeah.
You're giving them the empowerment to fix themselves.
Yeah, exactly.
That's interesting, because in my healing work, I do find it's a lot of that. Sometimes it's channeling information that I feel or I'm receiving for them to hear at that moment in time. Sometimes it's giving them homework or things to work on to help them to uplift themselves.
To be in tune with themselves. Correct. Yeah.
And not always have to just come to me, oh, okay, I'll do this special magic and wave my wand and just magically fix you.
Yes. It's always that when people are giving you love, always reflect it back to empower them even more. So it's like whatever respect, whatever honor, whatever worship, whatever love that you receive, make sure that the client, friend, family receives all of it back. This is the power of the moon, right? The lunar, the yin energy. It's like, thanks for your love, but I'm not only going to take it, I'm going to take it, amplify, radiate it back. So then we're both loved. Right? It's kind of like, it's not like the old paradigm of the guru's like, I know, I received the love. Yeah, great, thank you. You can come see me again when you want more love. That's like the old dying energy, right?
Yes.
It's kind of egotistic.
It is.
It's kind of like the pyramid scheme. Like the one person at the top receives all the love and worship from the other people down below. But imagine that this paradigm, the pyramid scheme.
Yes.
The pyramid scheme, even in the spiritual world, right? What if it collapses into just everyone's equal, just like a plane, straight, right?
That's what I feel like Jesus was actually teaching.
He was doing that exactly, right?
Yeah. And then you hear about leaders of certain things. I won't mention any names.
Whatever I can do, you can do more and greater, right?
Yes,
along those lines.
Empowering people to be in their best energetic state, their best selves. Be in that flow of energy. We all want the same thing, and I do feel that as a collective, it's that collective consciousness, and whatever we're putting out into that sort of grid of the collective consciousness, it's coming back to us, it's coming to Mother Earth, it's coming into our whole dimension and lifting the whole thing up. And I feel like we're in a time of a great shift right now that we need people like you, Bernie, and people that are also interested in learning and wanting to grow and uplift humanity. We're in such a good time, and that's why I love YouTube, because what better way than to be passing information? There's books out there. The amount of knowledge that's accessible right now is beautiful and amazing. So I'm really glad that you came to chat with us. Are there any other closing words or any other words of advice you have to share at this time?
Not really, but it will just kind of wrap things up by just saying like being. Well, what does it mean to be? That's something that people can start to consider, start to meditate upon. What's a being? And it starts to.
I feel a stillness come over me just when you say that word. That's a good word.
It's feeling. It's
meditate
feeling.
on.
Yeah. Being means that you're not pushing, not forcing. You're not trying to expect like a certain outcome. You're not playing the scenarios in your head, how things are supposed to be played out. Being means that you are in the present. Being means that you're so content with your own energy, even if like a tidal wave, tsunami, earthquake happens in 5 minutes from now, you'll be like, beautiful tidal wave, beautiful earthquake, beautiful destruction.